Good evening and salutations, my Days of Lives fans. So, let's start off with Chad and Stephanie. The thing is, I've been sounding like a broken record because every time I see those two together, it's the same problem that I have every time they're on screen. And when Chad's to talk about, let's just sit there and try to work on our relationship, let's just enjoy each other for the night. I'm just like, so basically what they're saying is that you're going to ignore the problems. You're going to ignore the big problem that y'all two are having. This problem that, let's be honest, you can't get past. There are certain problems you can sit there and work on. I do believe in when you are in a relationship with someone, you don't just jump ship because of the little problems that get in the way. And there's little problems and there's big problems. And there's things you can sit there and work on. But there's things that you can't. Infidelity, abuse, marriage, right? So when he's talking about, well, let's work on our problems, it's like, y'all don't have small problems. You have a big, gaping hole. She wants marriage. You don't. Why should she have to sit there and compromise what she wants to be with you? Like, are you that full of yourself where it's just like, oh, I want marriage, she's just gonna sit there and jump on my page? And yes, I know I've said that in my live streams. When it comes towards me, when it comes towards dating, when it comes towards men, I said that. But that doesn't mean that a woman has to sit there and compromise themselves. Even for me, Smith saying, well, as far as like relationships and stuff like that goes, especially with me, you're either going to sit there and hop on my page or you can sit there and kick rocks. Because you do have that option. So by the way, this episode I felt like it was a little bit too long personally, but let's just move on from that. The whole conversation, after a while, it just turned into Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown when they just sit there and do the whole where they're not really saying anything. That's what it felt like I was watching. Meanwhile, you got Xander sitting there firing Everett because of Chad, and Everett's like, I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe, when he first comes in, he's like, oh, I'm just going to fire you, and he's not giving a reason why. He's like, I demand an answer why. And he's like, listen, I uprooted my life. I deserve to know the truth. I'm like, well, technically you don't. Let's just keep it 100. You don't deserve anything. You're not owed anything. And yeah, you did sit there and uproot your life and this, that, and the third, but he doesn't owe you understanding. This is something that I don't understand with some people. Yes, you can sit there and tell your story and you can come from a hard life and things of that nature, but as cold and as dickish as this sounds, the world doesn't owe you understanding. You uplifting your life and everything like that, that's a you problem. Okay? In all reality, Xander's just like, well, I fired you and I don't owe you an explanation why. Who are you? You don't you're not important enough to feel like I owe you anything. Now granted, he is shooting himself in the foot for some money. In reality, it's kind of stupid because like Everett said, okay, well without me, who's gonna sit there and produce your content for tomorrow the next day? 1 second. So while he isn't getting money from Chad, in the short term and long term, doesn't matter because the business is going to go under without somebody writing his stories. Very short sighted, but to be honest, I've been watching the show for about 2 years. This seems like the Xander thing to do. Meanwhile, you have this very obnoxious conversation with Steve, Kayla, and Sarah. And Steve is like, yo, listen, this guy can't be trusted. Point blank, period. He tells them his findings that, Constantine's been lying about his history. He's, with Victor. Constantine's saying he forgave the debt and he really didn't. Telling them all the facts. And Kayla's like, well, maybe there's another explanation. I'm like, I get that they need somebody to try to play devil's advocate. The problem is they're making them look like idiots, right? This is something that again, I have a problem with, is when you start to dumb down characters for plot, right? Taylor's supposed to be a smart, educated woman, and yet she's like, well, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. And, Sarah's like, well, listen, he saved my baby. And Steve is like, this guy is a senior citizen. He just happened to spring free and just run up and catch the kidnapper. And really? You think that's something a 70-year-old, 78-year-old, 80-year-old guy? I understand that you can't underestimate a senior citizen. You don't know how much fight they got in them left. But come on, let's just be realistic for a hot minute. And plus, he's like, and he just happened to not see his face or anything like that. Come on. And it's just like Sarah just being dumb. Oh, I have my suspicions as well. And it's just this obnoxious conversation that doesn't really go anywhere. And it just feels like there's only one brain in that room that's working, that's functioning. At some point, Steve does get back to the house. Constantine is arguing with Gwen about, and of course, Alex comes in and, Constantine's like, oh, you're just with Alex for his money and yada, yada, yada. And Alex comes in like, what are you talking about? And to this huge conversation, this, not argument, but Maggie comes in. Maggie's like, what's going on? And Constantine does his whole, oh, I was just looking out for your family and yada, yada, yada. Maggie, I get that you're grieving, but this is getting to a point where common sense and logic is just left the goddamn building, you know? And of course, she forgives him, and everyone's just like, whatever, and they all go apart. And then Steve comes in, and Steve's like, listen, I know dirt on you, and I will sit there and expose you unless you leave town. Maggie comes in there, okay? Now, again, this is another one of those things where Constantine was out of line, where even sit there inserting himself into somebody else's business that bro, you don't know the situation. Keep your mouth shut. Maggie lets that one go. Maggie comes in, and Steve is like, he's been lying to you. Well, actually, Constantine is like, oh, he wants me to leave because of this, that, and the third. Constantine starts there practically confessing his sentence, right? Now, maybe he's sitting there thinking, well, if I tell the truth, then at least you can sit there and think I'm being honest. But how many lies is too many lies for somebody that you barely know, right? Yeah, your husband knew him. Your husband supposedly rocked with him, but then you find out that he really didn't rock with him. Not a small lie. He literally said, oh, well, he didn't forgive my dad. We had issues with that, but I didn't want you to sit there and look at him in a bad light. I'm like, boo, he's been lying to you from jump. Okay, he crossed the line with you by kissing you. I know that you're grieving and that you're hurting and everything like that, but why are you sitting there having this guy who you don't know, who has been telling lies after lies after lies after lies after lies, that you're just going to be like, okay, at what point is one? At what point is there one too many lies? That's the problem. I understand that Maggie's a very forgiving soul, but I like to sit there and believe Maggie isn't stupid, right? She didn't get to where she was to the age that she got by being dumb. So why are you dumbing down this character? Oh wait, I forgot. Say it with me. At some point, Xander does does come across Alex and Teresa, and he's like, "Yo, listen, she ain't good. She's a bad seed or whatever. Just really being like, you need to sit there and watch out for her." But then he starts saying some out of pocket stuff like, "Oh, well, Victor will be turning his grave. Know that you are spending money on somebody who's not worth it. Yada 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 yada." Alex hits Xander. Sarah comes in there and Sarah's like, "What's going on?" Sarah takes Xander away, and of course, this to Teresa's like, oh, I really got him now. He's fighting me. He's fighting for me. He's defending me and this, that, and the third. I really give two ish about this Teresa storyline because of this stupid out of nowhere swap that they did. Yeah, good for the actress to still be getting work, but damn, at the cost of this, I I watched a little bit of the interview with Michael Fairman. And, she was basically just like, she was grateful to have a job. Long story short, cool. I know she can't sit there and say anything bad or anything like that, but for some odd reason, maybe just me, this switch. By the way, Michael Fairman did an interview with Emily O'Brien and Robert Scott Wilson, I think, or however you pronounce his last name, or whatever order the last name is in. And granted, they both switched their characters, but for some odd reason, Ben and Alex work, and this Teresa crap does not. I don't think it's ever going to work with me. I don't think it's ever going to set with me. And it's just a mistake that every time I see it, it completely takes me out of it. Um, Kind of like on General Hospital when he had the actress that played Lulu being pregnant, and at that point they were just like F it. And of course, a couple people was. I know I'm going on a tangent, but I am getting to a point. A couple people was defending her by saying, "Well, they can't sit there and fire a pregnant woman." Oh, okay, so we're just going to just pretend that we don't sit there and see that this woman being 9 months pregnant. You don't have to fire her. You can sit there and just replace her for a little bit until she's not pregnant. But whatever. It completely takes me out of the show. Now, Sarah and Kayla are talking about her relationship with Xander, and I'm just like, so let me get this straight. All the problems that you had with Xander just magically went away, right? This is something else that they just have Sarah playing Boo Boo the Fool that I really, 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 really despise. Because they get together, Xander does something stupid, Sarah can't forgive her, can't forgive him, or it gets so bad to the point where Sarah has no choice but to sit there and just leave. The fans love them together. Chemistry, whatever, blah, 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 blah. They're so cute together, all this sort of stuff. Okay, sure, whatever. The show's supposed to be, shows it's for fantasy, right? And you're not really supposed to sit there and think about it in a very left brain kind of scenario. It's just, oh, they're cute, they're so fun, they're so great together. So they put them together. They can give the most horrible story. Most people that like them, they don't care about that. They just want those two together. So logic, common sense, everything just goes out the goddamn window. And then you're just left with they're being cute. They have the same problems over and over and over again because Xander is who he is. And Sarah knows that, but yet she still continues to be with him. And she's sitting there talking about this, well, maybe one day we can sit there and be together. I don't know. I'm like, yes, it's a soap opera, so we got to go with it. But in reality, well, you have choices, you have options. Clearly took away that option by having her not be with Rex. I know that Rex and whatever had issues and cheated on her and yada 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 yada. So maybe she's just really shitty at picking men. I don't know. But yeah, they're gonna sit there and get together because that's what the fans want, even if it makes 0 sense. Sure. Oh, never it does. Oh, also, Stephanie is kind of sus of Chaz Sutton turnaround. Oh, it's cool. Maybe I've been too harsh on him. This, that, and the third. And Stephanie's like, it's like a 180. Of course, they play her down. Also, she doesn't sit there and tell Chad about the ring. See, what she's doing is trying to avoid pitfalls, right? If she doesn't sit there and say anything, it's not going to be that much of a big deal. The problem is, you're still lying, even if you're lying by omission. Adults like to sit there and call it um, compartmentalizing, I guess. But in our reality, we can tell ourselves that, but it's still, lying. I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else. But as always, sit there and say, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows. General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born the Beautiful, Young and Restless. Now, I don't know if people who watch this show watch General Hospital. But I'll sit there and say this before I go. I had the most intense interview that I think that anyone can ever have. Intense, not in a bad way, but just I went back and I watched the video last night because I couldn't sleep. There was things that that my interview, well, Daniel. There was things that he said that was so funny that even rewatching it, I was in tears, laughing. So if you're not a member and you watch General Hospital, this is something that you want to be a part of. And I'll leave it at that. I'll talk about more in tonight's live stream. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I'm going to thank you for watching. If you missed anything, write it in the comment section. And we'll sit there and talk about it tonight. And I'll see you in the next video.